Hello guys and welcome to a new video on this channel, and today we're gonna tackle the topic, the big epic, the duel of the fates between the streaming services on the one side, Netflix, Amazon Video, Disney Plus, Apple TV Plus, and on the other side, physical media, Blu-ray, DVD. Are they things of the past or do they still have relevance today? Well, we're gonna talk about it today. So Blu-rays and DVDs have been around for quite some time now. I mean, if you think about it, every one of us has at least one DVD or one Blu-ray somewhere lying around. And it's amazing in one way for me that still DVDs are still being made, so they still have a market. So that really shows that, like, even today people are still buying DVDs because, I don't know, they don't care about full HD or this. I don't know, it's really interesting to me why people still buy DVDs. I mean, Blu-rays, I get it. Full HD is still a fine format, looks really well. But why buy DVD? Well, whatever. Physical media has been around for quite some time, that's what I'm getting at. And now, in the last years, something big has emerged, a big competitor to physical media. And to be honest, it really looks like this battle has already been won, and it's no point in making this video. But streaming services, especially Netflix, because like Netflix was like the big first one who did it and is still, in my opinion, the mainstream streaming service that is right now available or that everyone uses. Because if I think about, like, all my student colleagues, at least the majority of the people I know, and that's like 99.9% of all students I know, have at least Netflix or Amazon Video. Like, Netflix and Amazon Video are the main two streaming services, and in the last years, actually in the last year, two big new competitors arrived because they also want a piece of the cake. And that is Disney Plus, which is like the more threatening competitor, let's be honest, and then there's Apple TV Plus, where I'm just like, well, I don't know. It's a very limited, like a limited collection of like TV shows, and it's only Apple TV Plus originals and no like normal movies that you could like, that were released last year, the year before, you know what I mean? Like classic movies, like, I don't know, Psycho, Halloween, you know, the classics of Scream or something like that. They don't have that. They don't offer the iTunes movie library on Apple TV Plus, so essentially you only pay for the exclusive series. So I don't know, I don't get who would buy it. But that's a whole nother topic. So maybe if you want me to compare all the streaming services in a video and talk about which streaming service I think is the best, just write a comment or hit the like button. Yes, finally also did the clickbait for the like button. Oh, I'm so proud. So yeah, streaming services have emerged over the years, and honestly, I got really late into the whole party because I started like really using streaming services in like 3 years, no, not even 2 years ago, in 2018, but I've never looked back since. I love streaming services, don't get me wrong. I use Netflix, Amazon Video on a daily basis because at least the biggest and most diverse library, because you can get movies from Fox, from 21st Century, or didn't that get bought by Disney? No, Fox did get bought by Disney. Disney buys everything these days, so I don't know. But anyway, or from Sony and all those companies. I mean, you have a diverse range of movies there on Netflix and on Amazon Video. So those are probably the biggest streaming services that we have these days. But Disney Plus also like has its meaning. But let's not focus on all the individual differences that all the streaming services have. But let's look at the overall function of streaming services, because in essence, I mean, they're all the same from the premise. And let's see if, when we take them versus optical media, like Blu-rays, 4K, Ultra HD Blu-rays, DVDs, and so on, in order to see which one is the best. So I have been collecting Blu-rays and DVDs for over 5 years now. I think I started at the end of 2014, and I've amassed around, I don't know, my current collection is around 340 Blu-rays, something around there, Blu-rays and DVDs, ranging from DVDs to Blu-rays to 4K, Ultra HD Blu-rays. Like in the last 2 years I started collecting those as well, because I got a 4K Blu-ray player and a 4K TV, you know. So it makes sense, of course, that I would defend Blu-rays and collecting Blu-rays. But let's get this straight right away. Yes, I'm saying optical media, in my opinion, is the superior form. But I'm not saying that you shouldn't use streaming services. Again, I use them on a day-to-day basis. So I think, I mean, I'm kind of in the middle ground here. Like, in today's world, we always have these like opposites. We always have to be absolute. Like, only a SIF deals in absolutes these days. And we always have to be either against or we have to be for something. You know, we can't be like we both can't agree on something, we have to be against this one. Like, you know what I mean? We always have to be like fighting for something. We can't agree on something. And I think we should find a middle ground these days. A lot more people should do that. Because we have this one side that's like all streaming services and like fuck all the Blu-rays. And then we have like one side that's like, oh, Blu-rays. And then here am I, like essentially like even metaphorically in the middle saying, both is great, but I prefer this. So why do I prefer Blu-rays? One example. I'm a big movie enthusiast, and I think it really, your view on how valuable collecting Blu-rays and DVDs depends really on how much you value movies. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, this might sound a bit like, oh, I'm so good, I value movies more than you. No, I don't mean that though. Don't get it twisted. What I mean is, there are a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with that, that just enjoy watching movies as a pastime. They just watch them, maybe even do something while they're watching the movie. I can't do that. I really can't. If I watch a movie, I have to focus on it. I also look at the art behind the movie, and I really enjoy like looking at behind the scenes, how it was made, what the director thought of, and all the struggles that maybe he or she had to encounter. Just an example, maybe Jaws, and how all the problems with the animatronic that Steven Spielberg had, and how amazing it is actually how it turned out in the end, with all the struggles that he had to deal with. So I love looking at movies in more detail, you know. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, let's discuss this in the comments, but I believe the more you are into movies, the more you're interested in the whole like cinema genre and the whole production and the whole world of cinema, the more you will value buying those in like physical form. Because, and this is one thing I think that a pitfall of the streaming services. I think the whole value of a single movie gets lost in the amounts of movies that we have on streaming services. Because, let's face it, when I buy, for example, this is the Dark Knight trilogy, probably the best superhero trilogy there is, on 4K. If I want this in physical form, I either go on Amazon and I have to and buy it, or I go on any other site, I don't know, and maybe I buy it used, like this is actually bought used because it's cheaper, because it's quite expensive, maybe it's 4K, or I go to a shop, like traditionally, and buy it there if it has it. So I have to take an effort, if you want to say it, I have to take my time to buy it. I can't just like, as with streaming services, go online, look it up, click on it, and there I go, I can watch it. I have to take my time, and maybe if, for example, I order it, it takes 1 or 2 days, and there it is. So I think the whole process of buying a movie physically takes more time, more consideration, more effort. Now, you can see this as a negative, and I get this point. But I also think the positive is you're kind of looking forward to the movie. I remember, especially with this one, because I just love this trilogy so much, I always said when it got released, because this has been released for quite some time now, and I always said I will buy it one day. And when I ordered this, I was actually quite excited. And when it arrived, I was like, oh yes, yes. And I already watched The Dark Knight because I love this movie, really. It's a masterpiece. You should really watch it if you haven't. I just really, I was looking forward to the movie. And I think also now when I have it and like I'm putting it here in the background, and always when I'm like working on something, I can look at it, because I think it's a really nice box design. So not only can you appreciate the work that went into this box, like designing this box, because obviously, of course, a box set, you won't have a box set on a streaming service, obviously, you won't have anything physical, obviously. And secondly, I can also say, this is mine. You know what I mean? This belongs to me. I can pick this. Let's just take this one here, The Lord of the Rings. Oh, like the best Blu-ray box that I've ever seen. I mean, it's just so high quality. It's amazing. You can really see how much effort was taken into creating this. You can just take this. When I buy this, and as soon as I bought for it, I can take this and put it in my hands and say, this is mine. You know what I mean? With Netflix and Amazon and all the other streaming services, the cold hard truth is, if Netflix or Amazon Video or whoever decides to like delete a movie from their site, they'll just do it. You have no say in the matter, because the movie doesn't belong to you. Because you're not paying for owning the movie, essentially. What you're paying for is for the allowance of watching the library of movies for as long as they please. So in a way, you never really own a movie. And I don't like this as a movie enthusiast. And the thing is, you can never appreciate this amazing design. I mean, look at this box set. I mean, again, if you I don't know, I think if you appreciate movies like more, if you want to look more in detail into movies, you can appreciate those things more, especially if you're a big fan of the series. I mean, just look, it's all engraved and you have all this, it's all shiny, it looks really like it captures this mythical theme that this movie has, and it has like magnets, and it's really high quality. You even have the whole, like, trying to show you, this is the whole map of Middle Earth, and you have like all the extended Blu-rays with, like, I don't know, I think 10 hours of additional, like, behind the scenes footage, like with every movie. Think about that, every movie. But anyway, that's kind of my big point. When you're collecting and appreciating those movies, I don't know, you kind of appreciate the single movie more once you buy this, because you have to take an effort and take time to buy it, and then you can just, like, you can put it somewhere, and then you can always look at it and appreciate it. I don't know, I think maybe a fear that I have is that over time with streaming services we will value the movie as a single thing less. Because, let's be honest, when we're browsing for Netflix, all we're kind of doing is, oh no, not this movie, no. Then, I don't know, we find a movie, we're like, oh, this sounds interesting, we click on it, we watch it, we're like, oh, great movie, and then we just move on. We never think about, man, yes, if it's like an amazing movie, like, I don't know, you watch Gladiator, or you're like, oh, it's so great, Maybe, yes, okay, of course you will think about the movie, but I don't know, I think at least after 2 days, max, you just forget it. There's nothing reminding you of this amazing movie. You know what I mean? And furthermore, I mean, it's a really obvious thing, but for Netflix and Amazon Video and all the other streaming services, of course, because it's a streaming service, because you're streaming stuff, you need internet. Now, and I have to mention this because, of course, we're looking at things objectively here, because till now I just, like, defended the Blu-ray. I was like, this is why you should buy a Blu-ray still. Because, of course, as a collector, I'm passionate about this. But, of course, one can't go without mentioning how great streaming services are. First of all, every single streaming service from the big four. So the big four for me are Netflix, Amazon Video, Disney Plus, and Apple TV Plus. They all have 4K, up to 4K streaming. So you get, like, the best quality imaginable. Now, of course, I mean, we have to mention this. A 4K Blu-ray will have slightly better quality to a streaming of 4K. Yes, that's just fact. Of course, you don't get as perfect of a quality with streaming as with the 4K Blu-rays. That's always fact. Like, look at all the Blu-rays across the board, it's always the same. But the thing is, the degradation of quality isn't, like, remarkably different, like, to the point where, like, oh my god, I can really, like, notice it's not that big. So quality-wise, there's no real argument, or like, oh, because of the quality you buy the 4K Blu-ray. No, not really, to be honest, in my opinion at least. And even like with internet connection, because a lot of people also are fearing about this. They're like, with 4K streaming I need a good internet connection. I mean, obviously you need one, but here, I'll give you an example. Here in Austria, if you're watching this from America, you probably laugh at this, but here in Austria I have a 40 Mbit connection, and that is, here in Austria, quite good, to be honest. Now, you will probably laugh at this and say, ha! 40 Mbit, like that's a joke here in America. Yeah, I get it. Here this is like normal internet. And now, just as comparison, you say this is like ridiculous, there's not a lot of internet. With 40 Mbit, 4K streaming, HDR, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, whatever we have, this works perfectly. Nothing, no hassle at all. So if you I even did this with a 30 Mbit connection, worked perfectly. So what at least I can say is that with at least 30 Mbits, 4K streaming in like HDR, Dolby Vision, and whatever you can get, works perfectly. So I think internet connection wise, you don't really have to worry a lot. Unless you have like a really bad internet. Like I know one friend who has, I mean, it's not shit, you know what I mean, but it's getting better, but it's still below average. He might struggle a bit with 4K streaming. But anyway, there are a lot of people, as I already mentioned, who still buy DVDs. So there might, I mean, I don't get it, but there might still be people who don't even care about HD. So if you don't care about 4K and just full HD streaming, just don't even worry about it. At least I think in today's standard, everyone has the internet capabilities to stream in full HD. Surely, because Netflix and Amazon Video and all the streaming services like perfected this so immensely that it just works, you know what I mean? And it's a really good quality. And what's also great, of course, about streaming services is just the ease of playing a movie. Just go on there, you open it, you can open it wherever you go. That's another thing. A positive, of course, of streaming services is I can watch, I don't know, give an example, I can watch Gladiator on my MacBook Air. I can watch it on my main PC. I can watch it on my iPhone. I can watch it on my iPad. I can watch it anywhere that has an internet connection, essentially. You know what I mean? You can just watch it everywhere these days. Streaming can be watched everywhere. So maybe, let's say you're traveling somewhere. You can just like take your phone with you, just watch a movie. And the great thing that also streaming services now have is, because you might think now, well, I don't have a really big cellular data plan, so I have like, I don't know, let's say you have only 3 gigabytes, which really isn't a lot these days. And so you can't really afford to, like, when you're traveling for 3 hours, watching a movie for like 3 hours, because that takes a lot of storage or a lot of gigabytes from your plan. No problem, because these days, at least with Netflix, you can just download the movie in advance via your Wi-Fi and then just watch it, and it doesn't take any of your data. It's really great. So from the ease of playing a movie, from the ease of watching it wherever you want, I mean, streaming services win. I mean, there's no doubt about that. There's just no contest. What is my conclusion here? What's the conclusion of this video? While I still prefer getting Blu-rays, getting box sets, enjoying the movies, appreciating the movies, you know what I mean, for what they are, for the craft that they are, for the time that it took to create them, for all the effort that the creators, the directors, the teams, the designers, and you know, all of the amazing people that work at these magical movies these days took. While all of that is my opinion, I mean, I have to say it, streaming services are here to stay, and streaming services will stay and continue to be even more the mainstream. And I would even argue this, I don't even think Blu-ray should be scared about the streaming services that are happening, because there will always be people like me who will buy those Blu-rays and collect them. Because when you love something dearly, you always start buying stuff, like you see here in the old movies, like NES stuff and stuff like that. It's always like that. I think the branch that really should be scared about all this streaming service development should be television. Because, you know, not even like Netflix or Amazon Video, because that's already scary for them. But you know what's really scary for them? YouTube. YouTube and Twitch might be the end of TV as we know it. Wait, in 10 to 20 years, I think we won't have television as we know it now, at least. They have to adapt. But that's a whole other topic. So what's the conclusion? You all might be screaming now at the display, fatality, streaming service wins. You know what I mean? Kind of stuff like that. But I think we should take a middle ground approach here. Yes, the mainstream way to watch movies these days, especially with younger audiences, will be streaming. No questions asked. But for a small portion of people, and I think that's where Blu-ray will stay, it will always stay, collecting movies, having them in shelves, always being able to watch them regardless of the internet connection, will be the way to go. And when we're talking about quality, even though the differences aren't like amazingly big, the best, and that's just fact, the best quality or best form of watching a movie is still only possible when getting a 4K Blu-ray or a Blu-ray, because after all, you don't need to stream anything, it's all on the disc. So guys, that is my video on the whole topic. What is your opinion about it? Do you say, no, I still buy Blu-rays and DVDs, I like watching movies on Blu-rays and DVDs, I prefer them, are you like me? Or do you say, no, Blu-rays suck, only streaming services, master race, I don't know, does this even exist, I don't know. Or do you say like me, middle ground approach, do you say, no, I use both, I like both. What is your opinion? Write it in the comments below. Till next time.